All right, traders, today was a crazy day within the stock market. If you watched the video that I posted last night, I'd explained to traders that in terms of dip buying the SPY, the best price to dip buy the SPY call options is at 416.10, which is exactly where SPY double bottomed today, rocketing back up to 420s after having that gap close reversal in between 416.10 to 417. So the strategy worked once again. Within this video, I'm going to share with you the important updated market price action analysis on the SPY. We're also going to be going over how to trade the best setups at the best prices. I got some new setups on my radar. I'm going to share with you the trading plan, how we plan to make money both ways with these options, right? I'm going to give you that trading plan. I'm going to give you those price alerts. And then towards the end of this video, we're going to be discussing earnings plays. We had a couple stocks with big earnings today, such as, Facebook and PayPal. I'm going to be explaining to you my plans moving forward with those. And I'm going to save the best for last. I posted a video about a week ago on a stock called SST. And I'd explained to you guys why I was expecting this stock to have a short squeeze, why it was going to be a great passive income leap option long-term play. That stock is currently exploding in after hours. So I'm going to be explaining to you my plans moving forward, because within Trader Society, we bought those leap call options when the stock was trading in like the higher 13s. And right now it is currently 1530s in after hours. And those call options are on track to print at least 40% plus tomorrow. So I'm going to explain to you my updated plans moving forward. And I'm going to teach you these strategies during this video. I'm still feeling sick. I'm still feeling under the weather. I'm back on antibiotics. With that being said, I'm going to try my best to not only, get better and take care of myself, but do what I can do while I'm sick, which is going to be making this video, because this is what I can do in terms of right now, right? Life's always going to hit you with curveballs, and the attitude to have is just to be like, bring it, like fucking bring it, like let's go. Just keep rolling with the punches. So with that being said, let's get right into this video, guys. So in terms of SPY, we had discussed, if you've been watching this channel, that this was due for a reversal. This was due for a spike once it hits 417, right? There was a gap to fill 417. See how it filled the gap right here at 416.25. Right here, it has a reversal. It starts to rocket back up. I was explaining to you guys how, if we see a bullish confirmation at 417, you're going to want to be buying SPY. And in terms of yesterday, there was no bullish reaction at 417. So there was no reason to be buying SPY call options. If you look at the chart, this is when it filled the gap right before the market closed at like 3:50 p.m. It did not fill the gap here. It partially filled it. You have to wait for the gap to fill. So there was no reason to be buying this in terms of yesterday. But in terms of today, and if you watched the previous video, I'd explained to you guys that SPY is currently running up in after hours, which is bullish. It's having its first green day after having this massive sell-off as it was trading in the 450s on Thursday. So it's due for some sort of micro spike, right? And then in terms of today, you could see right here, SPY gapped up, had a little gap and go, and there was a gap to fill at 416.10, which is that new best price I had told people to be buying calls. And as soon as it filled the gap, it had a little reversal where it went from 416 to 417.60. You could have made a quick 20, 30, 40% return depending on what call options you bought during that time. And then in terms of right here, it cracked, it tried to react as a resistance. As you can see, it formed nearly a dragonfly doji, a bullish dragonfly doji, and then it started to pump back up. So basically when you see this, PCP, this previous closing price, this gap close reversal level react as strong support. So what are some examples of it reacting as strong support? You can see right here, this is resistance. You got a lot of resistance at 417.54. Once it went from green to red, back to green, it started to pump. And you could see it's not this right here, this resistance with big downside potential is not reacting as resistance anymore. It's reacting as support. It's reacting as support. So when you see that, it's okay to buy it a little bit higher. So in terms of the buying opportunities for SPY, you could have attempted to buy it right here, and you could have attempted to buy it right here when it turned this previous resistance into support, started to break out into support, and then it had a quick little micro run from 417 all the way to the 420s, and then it sold back off. I decided not to trade this because in terms of today's price action, I just didn't like it. I didn't like the price action for today. I thought it was going to be a very sideways flip-flop choppy day, and that's exactly what it was. So I'm kind of glad that I stayed away from it because I wanted to play it safe. But there was some micro scalping opportunities for this buy that you could have taken an advantage of. And just another indication, using the 5-day chart, this was another bullish reason to be buying. If you see this bullish candlestick on the 5-minute chart like this, at this key gap close reversal level, and then it starts to go above, that's confirmation to be buying, right? So this is a very bullish wick, a very strong bullish candlestick, even right here as well. All confirmations to be buying SPY for the micro gap close reversal. And then in terms of where to sell, where to lock in profits for that micro trade, you can visually see you got a lot of resistance right here towards 418. And if it breaks above that, you can look to sell towards this 420-ish level, right? So that's where you kind of know how to lock in profits and how to, lock in some gains, right? With that being said, where is the SPY heading moving forward? So right now we are at a battle zone. You can see right here, SPY bottomed at $419 and then it rocketed up to $428. Then it sold off all the way to 413. So we're in a very volatile flip-floppy market right now. Overall still macro bearish on the market. But with that being said, we're in a battle right now. And I want you to understand the key battle is going to be like $419. That's where the key battle is going to be. 419 is going to be make it or break it. If 419 cracks, it's going to fill the gap. There's a gap to fill below right now at 417.27. SPY had a little move up during extended hours trading. There's currently a gap to fill below at 417.27. If SPY cracks this 419 level, it will drop and then go back to fill that gap below. If it cracks 416, then it sells off into the 415 level. If it cracks 415, then it goes down to 413. So in terms of your key make it or break it level, I want you to think of like, there's a lot. There really is a lot. There's a lot right now because we got this big upside, big downside potential level at 419. We also have very strong support at 417, very strong support at 416. And then if you go back throughout the daily chart, you got very heavy support at 415 and 411. So the point being is SPY is trading at a lot of key levels right now. There's so many key levels on the daily chart, on the 5-day chart. So there's going to be a lot of flip-flops. There's going to be a lot of fake outs. There's going to be a lot of fake outs, a lot of fake breakdowns. There's going to be a lot of flip-flopping. There's going to be a lot of sideways. In my opinion, it's not going to be a very easy time to be trading. In terms of what I can say right now is, what I would do is I would wait for this gap to fill. 417.27, I would wait for the gap to fill. If it reacts to support, buy the calls. If it breaks down, SPY is going to start to sell off. It's just like puts aren't so attractive because it's already been beaten down. But you have to be very careful with calls because I do believe sometime this year, SPY will go lower. I think it has a good chance of really trying to break the 52-week low. That's for the macro though. That could take time. It could happen in the short term or it can happen in the longer term, right? But that's the whole macro idea. I'm not saying that's gonna happen for the short term, but I do believe that is on track to definitely happen this year, most likely within 1 to 2 to 3 months. But we're definitely due for that pullback, that new 52-week low. In terms of how the daily chart looks right now, I mean, it's not the most bearish candle and it's not the most bullish candle. So it's just kind of tough to say right now. But 417.27 will be the key level. If I do trade the SPY tomorrow, that I will be trading based off of. It's going to be 417.27. I want to see how it reacts. If it can form strong support, I'll look to dip by it. If it cracks, then it's going to sell off and try to go below 415. So that's my thoughts. That's my analysis on the SPY in terms of upside potential. If for SPY to really pump back up for the micro, it has to do this quick. It has to turn 419 into support. Right here, this 419 level. See how when it cracks 419, falls off a cliff and goes to 413? This is your make it or break it level. So for the bears to really take control from here, they need to turn this into resistance. For the bulls to take control, they need to break out, turn it into support. If the bulls can do that, we will be on track for a gap fill at 428.51. So in terms of levels of interest, 417.27, there's a gap to fill there. 428.51, there's a gap to fill there. So puts here and then calls there if it reacts bullish. You just have to be very, very cautious with calls right now as well, because if you just look right here, when it cracked 419, it sold off all the way to 413, and then even today it cracked 419. It sold off to 415, trying to put in a higher low. But you do have to be careful. You have to be careful both ways right now, because SPY is due for more of a macro sell-off. It's due for a 52-week low within time. But it's also due for a pump back because this is an overreaction. So for the micro, it's definitely due for some upside, but it's kind of tough to say too, because like VIX right now, from an overall standpoint, VIX, like the inverse of SPY. So when VIX goes up, SPY goes down. VIX does look bullish. This is breaking out above your strong resistance here at 26, and it just keeps on pumping. This is a very bullish candlestick. I think we're going to see some micro flip-flops, micro sideways, micro chop, but within time, it's just, I think within time, VIX is going to pump back up. That's what I think is going to happen. And then once that happens, once VIX rockets to like $29, $30 this year, that's when the SPY is really going to take that hit of that potential new 52-week low. So that's my thoughts on the overall market right now. I'm mainly focused, I do want to see how SPY reacts to 417.27, but I've mainly been focused on trading stocks, and I've been doing extremely well just trading stocks and not trading the SPY as much. I only mainly trade SPY when there's a macro opportunity at a key level where I can kind of swing trade it, or when there's a day trading gap close reversal opportunity. That's what I mainly trade with the SPY. I mean, in terms of SPY, it seems like the easiest way to trade it is to go with like some more midterm options and just kind of hold them, right? Like we knew it was an obvious put opportunity when SPY goes to 460s. We knew it was an obvious put opportunity when SPY goes to 450s. So it seems like one of the easier ways to trade the SPY is if you go with some midterm options, you give it some time, like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, or even longer, you stay in the money. It seems like SPY is a great passive income play for swing trading. And there is some micro trading opportunities. It's just you truly got to trade at the best prices, and I don't find it the easiest one to be day trading. So in terms of my experience with the SPY, I loved it. I love it most for swing trading when there's some swing trading opportunities. So there will be a great swing trading call opportunity within time. We just got to wait for signs of a bottom. So yeah, I mean, you could even see there was a gap to fill at 405.41. It bottomed at 405.33, and then it had a gap close reversal, rocketed. There's so many great swing trading opportunities with the SPY. So I will say that. In terms of stocks that I'm interested in trading, so for Ader stock, let's take a look at the chart right here. So we had a gap fill on Ader at 530. We had a gap fill at 530 on Ader stock. If 530 reacts as a resistance and cracks, I'm going to look to play puts tomorrow. You can see this is strong support. It gapped down, cracked that support, started to bottom towards this support, ripped back up to fill the gap. If it can turn this previous support and this gap close reversal, this PCP strategy into resistance, it's going to sell off hard and it's going to be on track to crack this 470s. So I am interested in Ader puts if 530 can break down and react as a resistance level tomorrow. In terms of the options I select, and when day trading, it's typically the closest expiration, and it's typically the at the money strike or slightly in the money strike. I don't like going further out of the money. So that's my thoughts on Ader. That'd be the plan there. Looking for a gap close reversal, looking for a breakdown. If it's red tomorrow, look to buy the puts, ride it back to like 470s. If it cracks 470s, then 450s would be the target. So our next stock is going to be NKTX. I am looking for a red day on NKTX tomorrow. If we are red, I will look to buy the put options. So we discussed how we were waiting for this stock to fill the gap. There was a gap to fill right here at 1872, and I told you guys once it goes to 1872 and once it reacts as a resistance level, it reacts bearish, that's when you want to be buying the puts. So it is starting to react as a resistance level. It traded a little bit sideways, faking out twice today, but it is starting to react as a resistance level. So if this can go red tomorrow, I'm planning to buy the put options, ride it back down to about 1680. That'll be the game plan. Let's take a look at the option chain. The current price is 1830. In terms of the put options that I will be selecting, it will be the 17.50 strike. So those are going to be slightly out of the money. If there was an 18 strike or an 18.50, I would be going with those, but that's the options in terms of the chain that this one has, right? So we're looking for a gap close reversal and a pullback and a crash to about 1680s on NKTX for tomorrow. It has to be red. It has to start to break down. It'll start to fall off a cliff once it cracks 1830, and then you do have support at 1750. So if you buy puts at like 1830s and it's holding up, you're going to want to lock in profits. For the puts to extremely print, 17.5 must crack, and then once the strike becomes in the money, that's when the puts really start to print like crazy. That's why preferably I would like a strike at $18 instead of 17.50, because if it bounces at 17.50, then the puts aren't going to print as well, and we're going to have to lock in profits. But those should still do decent, so that's something on my radar. And our next stock is going to be some NUE. You know, NUE is trying to have a little micro reversal here. You can see you got a lot of resistance on the 5-day chart right here towards 161, and then it pulls back into the 156, 157 range. With that being said, I do believe we had a move up during after hours. Let me check this. Okay, so no, we didn't have a move up during after hours. That must have been another stock. But for this one, I want to see if it can continue to hold this 157. It's make it or break it for this stock. 157 needs to hold for it to run. Overall, not the greatest chart. It's trying to turn previous resistance into support, but not the most bullish chart. It's just something on my radar. Not too interested in it at the moment. BYND, Beyond Meat stock, is getting a little interesting here. Let's go further back throughout the chart history. So you could see right here the all-time low on this stock is at like $45, it looks like. And then today it bombed at 35.41 and rocketed. Excuse me, we got a very interesting candlestick forming. And we do have some intraday gaps to fill. These intraday gaps do like to fill. There's an intraday gap to fill at $43. This was just at 47 today. So, I mean, this is getting interesting. We got some very strong support at 35.50, and then we have more support at 37s. This is just on my radar for a potential gap fill play to 43. I don't think it's going to be easy, but I am potentially looking into some leap option trades for this one, like some midterm call options. I'm not quite sure what strike I'll be selecting yet. This literally just came on my radar. I mean, let's take a look at the option chain real quick. So we're at $38. Say we went with $35 strike. Yeah, I mean, these aren't too bad. These contracts right here would be, let me move this up so you guys can see this. I mean, this isn't too bad. You have plenty of time, like July 15th. $35 calls, they're priced at like $8, so your break even would be like $43 and the stock is at 38. Like that's not that bad at all. It's just we have to be careful in this current market in terms of buying conditions. But this is something on my radar. I think this can rip to about 43. It's just going to take some time. It's pretty wild. There was a gap to fill at 47.40. Look at this. This is why you got to set these price alerts. There was a gap to fill at 47.40 right here. Big downside potential, new all-time low potential. And like I tell you guys, when you see an overreaction, when you see a big move like this, like from 35 to 47, 44, it literally fills the gap. As soon as it fills the gap, it has a gap close reversal. We had members who are self-sufficient, who were on top of this. I got to give a big shout out to Greg. I remember Greg. He's so consistent. He's absolutely killing it. He crushed it today. Greg Locks. He crushed it today playing the BYND for a textbook gap close reversal at 47.40, making a $3,700 profit. That's a little bit more than 9 times the cost of Trader Society, which is a one-time fee, lifetime membership currently. So I gotta give big props to him because that was a great setup. You know, that's what you want. You want an overreaction or a big gap up, then the stock fills the gap, just like we recently did on Tesla. Once it reacts as a resistance level, you look to buy the puts. And he noticed that once it hit 47.40s, he noticed right here, okay, it hit 47. What did it do? It dropped to 40. It dropped to 44 in 1 minute, and then it micro pumps, forms a bearish candlestick right here, forms lower highs right in between here, all confirmations to buy puts for the gap close reversal, and the strategy worked phenomenal. The puts went crazy. I mean, if you were to buy, let's just see if you were to buy puts on this particular play, and there's opportunity. You got to set these price alerts, man. There's so much opportunity. There's opportunity midday. There's opportunity power hour. If you set the price alerts and you get an overreaction like this, you play that gap close reversal, that classic pump and dump situation. Because when do you see Beyond Stock do a move like this, right? It's an obvious like pump and dump situation where it has the gap close reversal once you see it react as a resistance level. I mean, say you went with, the 41. Let's go to more in the money. So the strike was at 47. I mean, say you went with the $46 puts, like slightly out of the money when this hit 47. Let's see what they'd be worth. So these were at $3.40. They rocketed to $9. They were at $3.40 at the time. It's pretty wild what you can do. You can see right here, they had a gap down. And then once BYND filled the gap, had the reversal on the chart, shot back up, ripped to fill this gap. It's pretty wild what you can do with these options. So big shout out to him for crushing that. And that's just something on my radar. We'll see. There could be a gap close reversal opportunity for puts. If we rock it to $43 and it reacts as a resistance, I'll look to buy puts at 43, so potentially trade that both ways. Our next stock is going to be, so for Netflix, it is trending up a little bit in after hours. It has been doing that quite often, but it's still crashing. It still looks bearish overall. So this is just, again, still on my radar, no bullish confirmations to be buying yet. I did notice on the daily chart, there's a gap to fill below at 186.24 and 191, 192. If it breaks above 192, we could start to see a little breakout. We just got to wait for the first green day for Netflix. We got to wait for when it's looking very strong on the first green day. So our next stock is going to be Facebook. I want to buy some Facebook put options. You could see in earnings, it had a massive move up from 175 all the way to $210, right? So with that being said, I want to buy puts. Where do I want to buy the puts? I'm waiting for this gap to fill. There's a gap to fill at 217.31. That's where I want to buy the put options, ride it back down to about 210, 208. So I'm looking to short, looking to buy puts at the resistance level right here at 217.31 if we get the bearish reactions. That's something that I'm waiting for on Netflix stock. So I got my price alert set right there. In terms of our last stock, last but not least, don't go chasing this. I had mentioned this in my video last week, and this was alerted even before then within my private team Trader Society. So this is what we call a leap option. These are designed, you can think of these plays as like money seeds, right? So that's what I want you to think of these. This is like a seed where you plant some money in. So like as traders, we're not going all in. There's going to be a lot of cash sitting in our account, and we got to use that cash so we can grow the account, right? But we're not going to be using all that cash to day trade. So what we can do is we can set some swing trades. We can set some longer term leap option trades and also investments. So leap options for me, I'll typically go with expirations that are ranging from 30 to 90 days, sometimes even 6 months, but it's typically like 60 to 90 days. With this one, I had identified this stock SST. This was alerted on April 22nd. So if you go to April 22nd, which was right here, that's when the stock was trading in the 1360s to 1419 range, right? So nearly the bottom. It is currently exploding in after hours. It hit 1549, closed very, very strong. I'm going to be giving you guys the current updates because these are going to print tomorrow. These calls that I bought are going to be up over 40% tomorrow from my entry. So I bought these contracts at 170. The stock did pull back to about $13. So at the time, they did drop to around like 140, 130s. With that being said, my risk on these was like 50% of the contract's value, and my reward is going to be like 150% plus 100 to 150%. So that's like a 2 to 3.0 risk to return ratio. And I had stated that, and this is something, for those of you who stay to the end of these videos, you really do get rewarded with great information, because like I want you to write this down. This is why I truly loved this opportunity. Then I'm going to give you my trading plan for this tomorrow. So, I'm holding these call leaps. They're absolutely printing right now as the stock is ripping up in after hours. I bought these when the stock was trading at like $13.80 or $13.90, something like that. It's now at $15.30, so they're going to print. So this is what I had stated on April 22nd. My break even is $14.20. My strike was $12.50. My entry was $170. $170 plus $12.50 is $14.20. That means my break even is at $14.20. The stock was trading at $14 that day. So it's like the stock price is already at my break even. That's like a gold mine. If you can enter a trade where you're buying, keep in mind, this is the key word. These were deep in the money. This is a 12.5 strike. The stock was trading at like $13.90, $14. And if you do the math, my break even is at $14.20. It's like they're already profitable and they expire. This is the key. They expire in 14 days, something like that. So it's like I have all the time in the world for these contracts to print. They're not high risk because they're deeper in the money. And my break even is at the stock price where it's trading right now. So it's like, that's phenomenal. So if you can find a great option trade that has plenty of time where your break even is at the stock price, then that's like a gold mine. Like, let me show you like what I'm talking about. Like, let's say, let's go to like Tesla or something. Let's say I wanted to buy a Tesla put right now, right? Say I wanted to buy a Tesla put, 79 days out, a Tesla put at like in the money, right? So like $800 and $900 in the money. These are priced at 110. So if you do the math, 110. Actually, let me do a call example right now. I'm doing a call example to make it easier because SST was calls, right? So the stock's trading at $880. These contracts expire in 79 days, right? So let's say we go with an in the money strike, 850. It's not too deep in the money. These are at $120. So $120 you get in, you take that 120, add it to the stock price, $1,000. Your break even is at $1,000. So the stock has to go up 120 points for you to break even. That's, all the way till expiration. Obviously, you can still make money before it hits your break even. But the point is, you see what I'm saying? You see how rare it is to find what I found on SST? Like if you bought these Tesla leap calls, 1,000 is your break even. The stock has to go up 120 points for you to break even right now. But the beauty of these SST calls, these are the ones that I bought, these August 19s. When I was buying these, the volume was at 50. Right now, it's exploding. Look at this. The open interest hit 6,000 today. It hit 2,800 and 6,000 on these two contracts, and the volume's at 641 to 831. But look at the beauty of these. These are currently priced at 160. The strike is 1250. So if you do the math, 1250 plus 160, that puts you at 1410. The stock closed at 1408. And these expire in 114 days. So do you see what I'm saying? It's already at your break even. You're deep in the money and you have 114 days. So like I said, I'm looking at these contracts and I'm like, this is a no-brainer as the break even is nearly at the stock price. So tell me in the comments below, where are you going to find a leap option contract where the break even is already at the stock price and you have like 30, 60, 90 days to hold, like I just showed you with Tesla. If you buy the in the money contracts right now, your break even's at 1,000 and the stock price is at 880. So it has to go up 120 points just for you to break even. With SST, it doesn't even have to go up for me to break even because it's already at my break even. It's just crazy. It's absolutely insane. This is rare. It's very rare to find something like this. That's why I said like this is a no-brainer because it's literally the stock is at 1410 and the contracts are at 160 and the strike is 12.50. So that puts your break even at 1410. It's like you're already break even and you have 114 days. It's like this is a no-brainer. Where are you going to find a leap option trade deeper in the money that's already at your break even with the stock price? It's absolutely insane. So that's why I love these. It was a no-brainer to me. Now, let's go over the chart. Why did I decide to buy leap option calls on April 22nd for a SST? So I'm looking at this chart. The only thing I really dislike about this chart, two things. It's lacking the volume, and and it lacks chart history. That's what I dislike about it. What do I like about it? It recently had, excuse me, it recently had a massive move to the upside where this, bottomed out in the 1380s. Right here, it bottomed out in the low 13s. It rocketed to 1787. Right here, it bottomed out in the mid 13s. It rocketed to $37, right? So it's got a big upside support potential level. And I've noticed it likes to fill gaps. It likes to squeeze. It likes to rocket. There's a gap to fill right here at 2045. So I'm liking the chart because I'm saying that, this is a key support level with big upside potential. It's micro oversold. It's due for some sort of bounce. It's due for some sort of correction. And I'm saying, there's a lot of resistance right here in the 13s. You got a lot of resistance here in the 13s. See how this used to be resistance in the 1350s, then it sold off all the way to the 1050s. Well, once it turns it into support right around here, see how it breaks out and the bottom wicks are now above that resistance, just like I showed you with the SPY earlier today in terms of buying confirmations in this video. Then it starts to rocket when it turns those bottom wicks at the high of those resistance levels. See, these are top wicks. Then the stock breaks out right here. Now they're bottom wicks. That's bullish. Then it rockets. So remember that pattern. And then you can see right here, it bottoms again and it breaks out even higher, very bullish. And it has that huge squeeze upside potential, right? So I'm looking this and I'm saying to myself, this was just at 37.10 earlier this month and it had a massive pullback. It's squeezed, it's bounced to the 17s, to the 30s, multiple times bottoming at that previous resistance, which is now support, which is in your lower to mid 13s right here. And I'm saying to myself, okay, let's see how it reacts. Right here it bottoms, right here it bottoms, right here you have a bullish pin, right here you have another bullish pin, it bottoms again. So it was consistently bottoming at that key support level, which used to be resistance. And in terms of the channel, it kept trying to break out. It kept trying to form higher support. It was trading sideways a little bit in between. But if you're going to buy into a stock that has no volume, this literally did not have much volume at the time. You're going to notice all the time when these stocks fall off a cliff and they're extremely micro oversold, they start out with no volume, which is a time to take a starting position. And then once they start to break out a little bit, once they start to pick up on the volume, so like this is a channel. The channel was from $14.20 to $13. And whichever breaks first, if 13.20 cracks, bears take control, it sells off hard. If 14 breaks out, turns into support, then bulls take control and it rockets to the next resistance level, which is right here at 1670. So it's like a make it or break it zone. But the point being is, I knew this was due for a squeeze and I saw the bullish confirmations at the daily. The only thing I didn't know is when it was going to squeeze. So I told myself, I got to play it safe. I'm going to go with these in the money contracts that are literally at break even. It's like a no-brainer. And I'm going to give myself plenty of time for the expiration. I literally have 100+ days. And all it has to do is stay above $14 for me to break even. And in the meantime, within those 100 days, as long as it goes above $14, the calls are just going to keep on printing. We got this gap to fill above a 2045. It's got a huge explosive history of bouncing off of this, 1350 level. And another thing why I love these so much is look at the delta. It's like these contracts are fucking unbelievable. Like it's just where are you going to find a deeper in the money strike where you can buy where it's already at your break even and you have 114 days to hold. It's like, it's so rare. It's just so rare to find something like this. So with that being said, in terms of these contracts, the delta is $1. Since these are deeper in the money, you're going to have a higher delta, and the delta is $1. So every single time the stock goes up $1, the contracts are going to go up basically $1. So I'm in at 170. It's currently up $1 in after hours as it ripped to $15.49. So it's like my contracts literally just went from, it closed at 160. They should be, as long as it stays above the 15s tomorrow, they should be above $2.50 tomorrow. So they're absolutely going to print. Every time it goes up $1, those contracts are going to go up 50% plus that I bought in terms of my initial entry. So yeah, in terms of updates, in terms of thoughts, in terms of analysis, what do I think of this stock? it needs more volume. You could see today it started to pick up, forming a cup and handle, and it started to have a little volume breakout. The volume has been sitting around 1.2 to 1.3 million. Today it ended up hitting 1.7 million. So once you get that volume, that's when you really know to be adding and to really start getting in, right? If you get in before the volume comes, it's just going to be a sideways chop channel, or eventually it's just going to sell off. But if volume comes in, it's going to squeeze at some point. I knew the squeeze was coming at some point, and I played it safe. I'm glad I played it safe and chose those contracts. Those are the ones that I wanted, did the right thing. And sometimes it's going to come earlier than you expected. Like I said, it's when the volume starts pumping, that's when that squeeze is going to occur. And we're having a volume breakout. It's been trading at 1.2 to 1.3 million. Today's the day where it had 1.8 million almost, and it's moving up in after hours. So you got more volume coming in there. Where are the next resistance levels? So in terms of this chart, this is what I'm finding interesting. In terms of this pattern that I'm seeing right now, see how it bottoms at 1370s, 1360s, just like it recently did. It bottomed in the lower 13s, right, a little bit lower. Notice how right here, this is what I wanted to point out. You have this red candle, you have this red candle, you have this green candle, you have this green candle. On this green candle, the volume was pushing up. It was breaking out 1.3 million. The day before, 430,000. Right here yesterday, the volume was 1.3 million. Today, it's breaking out almost 1.8 million, right? So see how these two candlesticks are nearly identical? Look what happens the third day. Third day, it gaps up, closes in the middle, and then on the fourth day, it rockets. So in terms of when am I planning to take profits, I am planning to take profits into tomorrow, and then I'll probably leave some on to ride for Friday. That's my game plan. And then I can always look to get back in. So that's my game plan in terms of this. These calls should be up 50% tomorrow if it can maintain above 15s. But that's kind of my game plan for this particular situation. Now, in terms of if you do want to buy this, if you didn't get in, do not chase $13.28. There's a gap to fill below at $13.28. There's also going to be a gap to fill at $14.08. I would say $14.08 is going to be that key critical level. So the stock just had a breakout. If it drops to $14.08, that means it's going back to previous resistance, which was the high of that channel. If it reacts to support, that's very, very bullish for it to continue to go up. If it breaks down, then it's going to $13.30. So $14 and $13.30 are going to be some key make it or break it levels for this stock. It needs to hold and stay above the high end of this channel. It just had a breakout. So if it has a pullback, it needs to stay above 14.10, where that gap fill is 14.08. Look for a gap close reversal at 14.08 on that. If it cracks that, then 13.28 will be the next key level to buy this. Now, in terms of price targets, I'm looking at the chart and I'm saying, okay, right here it topped out at 17.27. Right here it topped out at 16.69. So if this can just keep on running, it will be on track for a move to 16s. This is going to be my other strategy. So the strategy that I used on this one was dip buying a stock, playing for the gap to fill, a squeeze play, using that gap fill strategy, taking advantage of this gap that is due for a fill, right? Obviously not fully maximizing it all the way to the top. So this is going to be called a gap breakout. In order for this gap to fill, this stock needs to break above $16.69. Once it breaks above $16.69 and reacts as a support level, and if there's strong volume, that's when it rockets to fill this gap. Once it fills this gap, reacts as a resistance level, that's when you buy puts. So I'm giving you trading opportunities. You know, this already played out on our end. Like, we're going to crush this tomorrow, but there's more trading opportunities. There's a gap to fill at 14.08. The best gap to fill is at 13.28 in terms of buying zones. And then in terms of breakout buying zones, $16.69 has to react as a support level and break out with strong volume. If not, then it fakes out and it gets crushed. And then the best price for puts is at $20.45. So there's just so much opportunity with these stocks. You have the gap breakout strategy here. You have the dip buying gap close reversal here. You have the put option gap close reversal right here. So many opportunities. So if you're setting these price alerts like Greg did today on BYND stock, they're going to trigger eventually, as gaps tend to like to fill. And that's going to set you up for these amazing opportunities that nobody's watching because they didn't set their price alerts. These scanners aren't going to tell them when these gaps are filling. Like, you got to set your price alerts. You got to put in the work. So yeah, that's my thoughts. That's my analysis for that one. We'll see if we can get into the 16s, and if it struggles or reacts as a resistance, I will fully get out. But my intention is to lock in profits into tomorrow and into Friday. Don't go chasing this. I gave you the key levels. I just wanted to teach you guys the strategy. Go back to my previous videos. We discussed this one. But yeah, if you do want to be a part of Traders Society, where you get these real-time updates in terms of some of the things that are included, you get to watch me trade live every single day at market open. You ask me questions live on spot. You see the live stream. You see my portfolio. You see me trading live, where I teach and trade live with you in real time every single day at market open. You also get access to the video lesson library. Within that video lesson library, you are going to learn how to trade the best setups at the best prices. You're going to learn the unique gap trading strategies that we are using to consistently profit within the stock market. You're also going to learn mindset and psychology within the video lesson library, and of course, risk management and position sizing. So you get the entire trading system. You also get access to the community who is dedicated to trading these gap trading strategies, to trading the best setups at the best prices, right? So you get access to the community who is going to have that level of education and who is surrounded by our trading style. And then you do also get access to, you can add people as your friend within the community, and you could send them one-on-one direct messages, whether that's me or the moderator or some of the other great members within the chat room. You can contact them one-on-one direct message. So yeah, there's a lot more to it. If you want to check it out, it's going to be the first link down below in the description. As soon as you sign up, you get instant lifetime access. That's for a limited time only. Within time, we are going to be raising the prices. This is the lowest the price will ever be. It hasn't changed. It's been like this, but eventually the price will go up drastically, and who knows, maybe down the road it'll be a recurring program. But if you do join now, it's a one-time fee, it's a lifetime access, and you are grandfathered in for life, right? So the best time to join will be now, as we're consistent, we're already profitable, and as the channel is still small. Once the channel grows and stuff like that, and once we get more results, more testimonials, then the prices will be going up. But we've already had a couple traders hit 6 figures from 4 to 5 figures portfolios, and we have one guy who is nearly at 9 figures right now. It's absolutely insane, and he had like 90K earlier this year. So yeah, if you do want to be a part of it, it's going to be the first link down below in the description, and I will see you guys tomorrow live at market open.